The Heat make a trade to get underneath the dreaded luxury tax, and Steph Curry is still confident despite the quiet offseason from the Golden State Warriors. We're going to discuss all that and more on today's Locked On NBA Game Night.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On NBA Game Night, where it's every game, every night, even when there are no games. I'm Hayes, one of the hosts of Locked On Bulls, and I'm joined by Pat, the designer, the other host from Locked On Bulls, our first time hosting Game Night together tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you guys by Monarch Money. And of course, the ad read is not coming out. Take control over your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com. So it's Locked On NBA for 50% off your first year. Pat, let's get into these topics we got for today. And the first one, late into the offseason, the Miami Heat have made a trade. They have traded Haywood, Highsmith to the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for a pick. This is anything else exchanging hands. This is a 2032 second-round pick that they're getting from the Brooklyn Nets on top of that. And so take that for what you will. Haywood Highsmith, a solid defender for the Miami Heat team, not in any way like part of their core or anything like that, but like this is a decent player to be given away just to get under the luxury tax. How do you feel about this move?
Listen, I mean, this is what the new taxes are doing, right? This is how it's changing the NBA. We saw it with what Boston did, with how much money they cleared off of the books this season. Now we're seeing it with other teams around the league, and at least this one, I think what's actually impressive for, I guess the people who are nerds of the NBA who kind of follow the ins and outs of this is how they went about making this deal, where you move on from Highsmith, you give yourself substantial tax savings, but you also create a trade player exception of that $5.6 million and opening up an opportunity for you to go out and add another piece. You create the roster spot because you didn't get a player back in this. So it's kind of the conversation of now, like, okay, what is Miami's plan for this season? Pat Riley's not a sit back and wait kind of guy. Well, I shouldn't say that. Let me run that. I
was about to say,
Pat Riley's not a sit back and wait kind of guy when it comes to being competitive. He wants his team to go out there and compete every single season. And so I think now you're going to get a real good look at, bam, you are the number one guy on this team. We want to see how you're going to go out there and play by giving you more shots, giving you more of that number one role. We need you to step up into that Jimmy Butler role for what he took away. And with him not on the team now, you've got more of that opportunity. If you see Bam kind of hit the ground running here and have a good start to the season, don't be surprised if by the trade deadline, you see Pat Riley try to put something together to fill that final roster spot.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point there, Pat. And I mean, creating the trade exception is good. Getting the second round pick back, that's solid as well. And for what it's worth, Highsmith also, he had a meniscus injury. And so that's going to put him out 8 to 10 weeks. And I think that's really kind of what's here is like, why we're going to pay the luxury tax for a player that is going to be out for a while. It could be back by the start of the season, but why do that if we can move him? And it's not like you still don't have depth at that position. Jaime Jaquez is still going to be there ready to contribute if need be, right? So you have that. You're already looking at now starting off the season with Khalil Ward probably as a starter, which moves Bam. You still got Andrew Wiggins there for the time being. So I can understand this is a smart financial savings move, but you made the point here. This is the era that we're in now. This isn't even necessarily the second tax apron, but the era that we're in now, like teams are going to be trying to save money where they are. And the Heat, who already haven't done a whole lot this offseason, they did acquire Norman Powell, which I do think is a solid acquisition, especially with Jimmy Butler no longer being there. It's solid there. They have some flexibility now with the trade exception. You have Andrew Wiggins, Terry Rozier, all players that we've heard that they've shopped during this offseason. They could revisit to try to shop near the trade deadline. So they have some flexibility there. And I would not be surprised, as quiet as this offseason has been, if it's a more active trade deadline for the Miami Heat, because it's kind of how Pat Riley gets down, right? Like he is a wait and see at times, but like you said, like he is also going to want to compete. And I think that, having an expiring contract in Terry Rozier at $26 million, you have Andrew Wiggins who has 1 year left. That's a player option. He's likely to pick that up, but that's another asset for you there. And even I wouldn't be surprised if the second round pick is another thing that they look to possibly move at the trade deadline to make some type of moves in there. So, it's smart. in that sense. But the Miami Heat, I know a lot of Miami Heat fans are just
Heat fans are not happy about this.
Yeah, they're not happy because it's that you get rid of an asset while you haven't really done much to bring back in here. And you're going to have to pay Norman Powell. He's technically an expiring contract, but I don't think you required him just to turn around and not re-sign him. So it seems like they're preparing for that extension as well. So, don't be surprised if that we hear a bunch of moves around the trade deadline time for the Miami Heat.
Here's what I do find interesting, though, right? What was Haywood Highsmith's best attribute? The defense, glue guy that's going to be, hey, you need me diving on the floor. You need me to say the ball. You need me. His best attribute is the thing that the Miami Heat always find. I think that's why it is interesting to me being outside looking in. And I think, right, you have your fan favorites. I mean, we know the career defensive rating. He was a 112.7, which is a really solid defender.
Mm-hmm.
You could go out there and put on one of the best guys on the floor and feel comfortable utilizing him. And I do think that the Miami is going to need that rotational defense this season. But that's the thing that Miami always seems to find. Name me a Miami team that a Haywood Highsmith didn't exist on. So to me, like, I'm not that surprised or not that worried by the move. Now, do I think that you need to do? I think you were, what were they, 1% or 2% over the luxury tax? It's not like they were like $50 million over the luxury tax. I think he put them like at $1.4 million over the luxury tax. It is what it is. My point is, you moved on from a player who I do think is nice, and I think defensively he's solid, and he's somebody who over the last couple of years has been a healthy piece. But that is a piece that is proven replaceable in that organization. And so some of the outrage from Miami Heat fans, when I see it online, I'm like, I get it. I've been there. I've been upset when a fan favorite is gone. You can replace Haywood Highsmith again.
Yeah, I mean, he's the type of player, but this does put the Heat in a unique situation. We talked about them now being, $4.7 million beneath the luxury tax. Yep. They created a trade player exception by doing this. But the question is now, they sit at 13 roster spots for the season. They got to get up to the mandatory 15. It's mandatory to have to carry 15. So, like, how do they fill that out? Like, I look around the NBA, like, of course, there's always some guys. To me, Pat, I'm going to say this, and this is somebody we're familiar with over at Bulls. This seems like a prime THT destination.
THT, baby. THT gonna come in, give you some exciting games. Must go forget all about Haywood Highsmith, bro. No, I think guys like THT. I think if you're going cheap here. Hey, Denzel, you want to get back in the league? I'm talking Denzel Valentine. You know what I mean? Hey, Tony Snell, what you got going on? Like, there's guys out there that you can get to your 15 with. That's the least of the worries, and you're not spending money that you're worried about getting rid of. Now, is that going to replace what Haywood is? No, you're going to have to ask one of the guys who's currently on the team to do that. And who's out there? Who's that? Is Javon Carter or Javonte Green still out there? Or is Javonte on the team?
He just signed with the Pistons.
Just missed him. There are guys out there that you can find that are just, the grit and grime guys that you could replace on the team. Now, is that going to be the same production? We'll see. But if the bet is that Eric Spoelstra is going to be able to coach a guy up to get him up to Heat standard, I'd take that bet.
You take that bet? Yeah, I would too.
I'd take that deal.
I'd take that deal. So we'll see what the Miami Heat do. They got to do something. I do think you're going to see some functional, just like minimum veteran minimum signings here that are functional. Like I said, it seems like a really prime THT spot. It seems like the type of move that they would make right now. So I wouldn't be surprised with that. Pick your name of the litter outside of that. So we'll see. Yeah, but Taylor Horton-Tucker's still a free agent out there. There you go. The guy that many Bulls fans were like, it's a walking bucket. Yeah, he's walking right into the Guangdong Tigers. That's what he's walking into.
No. Here's exactly who they're going. Is this facts? I'm just now looking at the free agent. Is Precious Achiuwa a free agent right now?
Yeah, I believe so. That seems like another guy that Miami Heat would take a shot at. Absolutely.
Steven Adams is a free agent right now, or did he resign? No, he resigned.
He resigned.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's guys that make
Delano
sense.
Bandit is okay. I'm doing too much now.
You definitely doing too much. So the Heat will go out. They'll make some functional signings, but watch out for this team. I think as the trade deadline nears, because I do think Pat Riley's going to be out there trying to will and deal. Don't know if he's going to be successful in willing and dealing, but it really does determine on how they're going to go. So I think look out for the Miami Heat to make those moves probably around midseason. But with that said, next up, we're going to be talking about Steph Curry and his confidence, despite the Golden State Warriors having a very quiet offseason. We're talking about his comments. But first, we got to get to a message from Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's the 401k, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control over your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. I linked my accounts to Monarch Money and immediately spotted a few subscriptions I wasn't even using, and canceling those alone saved me money every month. Don't let the financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use Locked On NBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code Locked On NBA. Or Locked On Game Night coming up next.
When that final buzzer rings,
It's gonna be one of those days.
Oh, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, that's how they do transitions over here, huh? Run that intro back, baby.
That's hilarious. So Curry was talked about the state of the team. He said this, Pat: my confidence has been built on the identity we were able to create over the last third of the regular season last year. The playoff journey. We have a really good team, and we do know we need some pieces to help take us to the next level. I think the veteran presence that we have, me, Jimmy, Draymond, we understand how to prepare through the uncertainty and be able to hit the ground running at training camp, knowing you should have some movement by then. Pat, one of the things that have been holding up the Golden State Warriors from making any moves really this offseason is the situation going on with Jonathan Kuminga. They're waiting to figure out that before they fill out the rest of the roster. They aren't up to the minimum number of players yet either. Yeah. And so it's getting very late into this process to be trying to do this. I don't know if this signifies that they feel like a Jonathan Kuminga sign and trade is very likely. Reportedly, they were offered Malik Monk in a sign and trade. They didn't even want to do that. Steph Curry's confidence in this roster is one thing, but how confident can you be in a roster that is missing so much as it stands right now?
I mean, listen, they finished out the season with the last 30 games, 17-13. The last 20 games, they end up going 10-10. You get into the playoffs, you saw how competitive they could be. And you got guys like Playoff Jimmy and stuff like that on the team who I didn't think was going to fit in with this team in the slightest. And somehow they found a way to make that work a little bit. The one thing that I think you have to look at with this Warriors team that I can understand the confidence from Stephen Curry on is Jonathan Kuminga wasn't this massive part of the team anyway. You kind of have the team that you had set last season, and they're just getting more and more comfortable in now working with the players that are on the side of them. Of course, we know Steph, we know Dre. They already have that comfortability together. But adding Jimmy Butler in, like Jimmy having a defined role and knowing what that role is, you had the success that you had a 567 winning percentage to finish out the season in your last 30. With Jimmy Butler kind of just going, I'm going to try and fit in where I can. Hey, Steph, it's your team. Give me this shot over here. I'm going to take this shot. And okay, what else you need? You need me to go stop somebody? I got you on the defensive end. We're going to do that over here too. Like, I think a full season of this team could be extremely dangerous in the Western Conference. The biggest question is going to be a lot of old dudes together. You know what happens when you get a lot of old dudes together? It's a lot of Ben Gay in that locker room because mugs are not healthy and they trying to get them joints to work. They trying to get them knees to work. They trying to get them injuries out of the way. And that's what the Warriors are going to have to start dealing with this season. Stephen Curry maybe a little bit less because of the style of play that he has. But a guy like Jimmy Butler, a guy like Draymond Green, those are players where those injuries could pile up.
Yeah, I mean, they are one of the oldest teams in the league. Them and the Clippers should be trying to be sponsored by Ben Gay. Those are two very old teams.
Bro,
very old teams.
Just have Shaq come through with the Icy Hot sponsorship, bro.
That's what they're going to need, Pat. That's definitely what they're going to need. So, we shall see what's going to happen there. Overall, though, I'll just say this. Steph Curry's confidence in the veteran core that they have there. And like you said, they finished the season very strong. They even were strong in the playoffs until Steph Curry went down.
Yeah.
Like They had strong play in the playoffs. Like, I still don't know if I see them as some championship contender, but I definitely see them as a team that's going to be solid in the West. They can make some noise in the playoffs. Depending on matchups is going to really matter for them. So the confidence that Steph has there is legitimate. And I do think the core of Draymond, Jimmy, and Steph, as well as Steve Kerr coaching them, that right there is going to be solid enough. You had young players like Quentin Post step up, what he's going to look like in another year now with development and being in the rotation to start. So there's definitely reason to be confident over the roster that they have there. And I think a lot of that confidence has to start with Steph's confidence in himself. Like, and then you mentioned before we started recording, like Steph saying that retirement isn't even in the view right now, right? Like,
I'm nowhere close.
For what it's worth, 11th in the league in scoring last year. Still efficient scoring when it came down to it. Still a bucket, like still shooting basically 40% from three. Like, and Steph's game is not a game that's based off athleticism. Of course, the ankle injuries and concerns over his career are there, but we're talking about a guy who at being towards the later part of 30 at 37 years old has played over 70 games the last 2 years. So there's reason to be confident there. I'm not going to try to crap on the confidence reason. It's just the thing that I worry about with the Warriors, Pat, is this, and this is more of a playoff concern than regular season concern, is that depending on the matchups, I could see a team running them out the gym. Now, that wasn't the Minnesota Timberwolves last year, right? They're not a team that's going to get out there, try to run up and down, but like you talk about a team like the Rockets, you talk about a team like the Thunder, you start getting into those matchups. I would even say a team like the Grizzlies could cause them fits. We'll see what the pace of the Grizzlies is going to look like this year, as they are apparently planning to like feature our boy over there, Zach Edey, which is like, that's a little scary.
Yeah, I got a steak free off of Zach Edey. Shout out to Zach Edey.
That's crazy. So we'll see what that holds for this team in the future. But overall, I guess we just got to see what the future holds for them. Let me ask you, how as it stands right now, we know that they still have to fill out their roster though. How confident do you feel in the Warriors next season to make a playoff run?
Oh, I think there's no doubt in my mind that they'll make the playoffs. And the reason is not just Stephen Curry. It's not just Jimmy Butler. It's not just Draymond Green. And I mean, you can't really count on Buddy Hield to be consistent. So I can't say it's Buddy Hield either. But you found some young pieces last year that stepped up in playoff moments. And this is what the Warriors continue to do. Remember how Jordan Poole stepped up in a playoff moment. Remember how you had a young Jonathan Kuminga step up in a playoff moment. Quentin Post, Trace Jackson Davis, those were guys who you saw step up last season who had truly felt like could go out there and be contributors. But of course, being young, being in the playoffs, trying to figure it out at that spot, you're like, okay, like we are still getting used to all of this. And so I think that's kind of what it comes down to, developing those young pieces. I think when you mention, of course, Podziemski is the biggest guy that you got to mention there, who ended up kind of disappearing towards the end of that playoff run. But like, if you can get those guys to hit, now you've got a reinvigorated team with youth and veteran experience. Those are the teams that used to win championships when we was growing up. You had to have that perfect mix. It wasn't just a bunch of old dudes running up and down the court. It was, okay, we got the youth, we got this guy over here, we got this piece over here, and we can make this perfect combination because they also have the experience.
Yeah. I guess we shall see, bro. We'll see what happens here. I love Steph Curry. Dre is Dre. He's going to do some things, but I think, having a lot of veterans there, like Dre's really seemed focused the last couple of years. And even Dre saying, hey, I want to get back to being the defensive player of the year candidate that I once was, like, says, I think a lot about where Dre's mind is. And that's good for him to be in that mental space. When Dre's mental is good, things seem to work for the Warriors, and you got to keep Dre in it. I know it's a lot that you got to do to keep him in a good mental space, but the Warriors seem equipped to do that. And having a full season of Jimmy, Steph, and Dre, I think is going to be fun basketball to watch. And Steve Kerr, coaching plays a huge part into the confidence of teams like that. And Steve Kerr has a great opportunity ahead of him as well.
When did he choke out Rudy Gobert? Wasn't that last year?
Huh?
When did he choke out Rudy Gobert? Wasn't that last year? Or was that 2 years ago?
2 years ago at this point.
Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we're a little bit removed from that now.
Oh, Dre, did Dre have a good season? He didn't step on nobody. He didn't choke nobody out.
I don't think Dre really had. I think he still some technicals, but I don't think Dre had any craziness last season.
Yeah, okay, all right. I'll take that. Yeah, man. Shout out to Draymond.
Yeah, that happened November 2023.
Okay, all right, a little while ago. It's a little while ago. That was a crazy chokeout. Oh, you know what? You're 100% right. Because Kat was sitting there on the sideline just watching it, going, "No, Rudy, you
Get up,
Rudy, you gotta spin with it."
All right, moving on from that, man. We're gonna get into the next topic, which the Nuggets mascot is suing the team. We're gonna get into that right after this. All right, Pat, that's crazy. One of the easiest things to make fun of is Cat's voice, bro. Like, because his voice just doesn't match his face at all.
It just changes so often. He got kind of a Tyrese Halliburton thing, but I don't know if he's doing it on purpose or not. Like, remember when he was at the thing? He was just like, "Shout out New York." I'm a New Yorkers. It was like, what the heck is happening right now? I've never heard you talk like this.
Exactly. You're from Chicago, my boy. But I just wanted to end this show on something fun. Fun for us to talk about, not fun for the Nuggets. So the Nuggets' former mascot, Rocky, has taken he's suing the team. So Drake Solomon, who portrayed Rocky previously, he filed a lawsuit against Nuggets owner and Kroenke Sports and Entertainment, and they said that the Nuggets violated disability laws and created a hostile workplace. Solomon, who took over the role of Rocky in 2021, following his father's legacy doing that. Rocky was that into the 2022-23 season, where he developed a bone condition. And despite serious health concerns, he returned quickly after surgery, and the lawsuit claims that the team still pressured him and then eventually let him go even with that. It's in the lawsuit that he's going to need a hip replacement as well, and that he was told that he was going to be removed while the Nuggets were actively holding out tryouts for his role.
I mean, look, there's a lot to unpack here. In theory, he should win this case.
Yes.
If this is all accurate information. But if you had this condition, what made you think mascot? Like, you got a serious bone issue and you were like, "Hey, I want to do flips for kids." And what was the logic in it? Like, there's a part of me that's like, did you do this knowing that you were gonna,
it's gonna be a short run?
Yeah, it was gonna be a 1-year run, and you was gonna. We used to do a thing. I think I'm past statute of limitations. About 7 years ago. I remember one of the veteran dudes when I worked at AT&T as a premise technician. He had tore his ACL and MCL. He forced himself to come into work. He was playing basketball. Forced himself to come into work. I was working with him that day because he was like, "I just need a little help." Put the ladder up, climbed up on one rung of the ladder, and jumped off. Got disability, got FMLA, got all this stuff. I'm wondering if it was one of them situations. Like, I knew this was going to be bad, but I needed that insurance and that bread up off of you.
I mean, listen, I wish I could say that we live in a world where it's like, no, Pat, that would never happen. Everybody's operating off just being honest. But unfortunately, no, that's not the world that we live in, Pat. People lie all the time. And I listen, I'm not one to judge, but Pat, I don't know if you tell me how you feel about this, bro, but this looks like a guy who would absolutely lie about disability, bro.
Oh, dog. He 100. What are these posters he's standing in front of? 2 minutes, 20 gunshot. What was that?
It's Denver, bro. What do you expect?
Oh, well, no, bro. Tell me that's not a Batman villain before he get dipped in acid,
bro. Or Two-Face, bro. Like, it's something going on there,
like
bro.
That was diabolical, bro. He 100% is one bad day away from a villain saga.
Yeah, bro. Listen, all I'm saying is I'm not one. I can't pass the ultimate judgment, but via the visual evidence, bro. It's not looking good for you.
The visual evidence, man. Via your face. I got questions. What if that's how the judge judged it? He was like, "All right, let's see this. Wait, that's the defendant?"
Like, bro, you can't tell me that this doesn't look like the thumbnail on a YouTube documentary, bro. Like, it's just
all you need is the slow zoom in. It was like a dream story of following in his father's footsteps quickly turns into a nightmare scenario. of popcorn and dunks. Doom doom.
Yeah, man. And then, apparently they terminated him after he was medically cleared to return. But like, to your point though, if this, hip surgery, like, to me, even if you're medically cleared to return, like, and I'm not saying that the Nuggets handle this correctly, but to be a mascot, jumping around, having to dunk basketballs off trampolines after a hip surgery, I think we have to have the conversation like, hey, we can take care of you, but this probably isn't best for you anymore.
Yeah, this ain't your career no more, my boy. You need to move into a nice desk job, and you can have the ring. You can say, you know what I mean? I was a part of the championship team. I've never seen the person inside of a mascot. I'm not going to lie to you. That was terrifying. And I wonder how many more people look like criminals inside of these suits.
Probably
I have
all
so many
them, bro.
questions, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, every mascot is one bad day away from being a supervillain, bro.
They just switch masks.
Yeah, they switched masks, bro. They already used to wearing masks all the time.
You don't even. What's the Denver mascot name? Rocky. He just takes off the Rocky head where he's smiling, puts one on that's frowning.
That's frowning. Yeah,
that's a villain.
Like some Five Nights at Freddy's type stuff, bro.
Oh, that's terrifying.
But I wanted to end it on something fun. Anything left, Pat, before we get up out of here, brother?
Nah, man. Appreciate y'all having me on Game Time, man. Bring me back anytime.
Game night, brother. Game night.
Game night. Game time. Game night. My bad. We got the ad read Game Time. Spend some money on Game Time too. Shout out Game Time.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
They never gonna let me back.
If you guys want to see more of this duo, we are the hosts of Locked On Bulls. We do it every day, Monday through Friday, here at the Locked On Podcast. Know you guys can check us out there. But otherwise, thank you for tuning in to Game Night, where it's every game, every night, even during the offseason. We'll see you guys again on Friday. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
Peace.